They came not with warnings, not with demands, not with purpose beyond annihilation. The skies over the first rim lit with arcs of fire that devoured moons, shattered orbital rings, and turned living planets into charred spheres of silence. The Dravani didn't conquer, they erased. Entire empires, some older than Earth's continents, vanished in the first wave. Suns that once warmed civilizations now flickered dim, their light occluded by missile trails and debris clouds. The Andari called it the Eclipse War. Others, the Long Night. Humanity, late to the stars, called it what it was. A genocide written in ash. And still we rose. We were not ready. No intergalactic fleets. No weapons forged in neutron forges. Earth's outer colonies barely held against pirates, let alone hyper-advanced exterminators. The first human worlds to fall, Helios V, Artemis Reach, and Hestia Prime, sent garbled distress calls before blinking off every channel. By the time the UN convened, 37 million were gone. Our generals gathered. They studied wreckage. They built projections. Every outcome spelled extinction. No military protocol could bend physics fast enough. No fleet could outrun annihilation. But we didn't begin with weapons. We began with light. In a remote settlement on Europa's dark side, where engineers built lanterns to guide miners through ice caverns, a girl named Kayla programmed a swarm of drones to hover above the colony. She tuned their frequencies to shimmer like the auroras, flickers of hope across blackened skies. The night after Hestia burned, the lights danced in her sky for the first time. Her message was simple. We are still here. That footage spread across every surviving feed. It reached Mars, then the Belt, then the last orbital station above Earth. It wasn't a call to arms. It was a call to endure. The Dravani didn't fear resistance. They didn't understand it. Their strategy was absolute: drown systems in kinetic warheads, follow with viral sterilizers, and scour clean any molecular trace of life. They saw species as anomalies, static in the order of the void. In their vision, darkness was purity. But humanity had long lived in darkness. And unlike the stars they blotted, our fires didn't burn in fusion cores, they burned in souls. We turned city lights outward, so orbiting vessels could see proof of survivors. We lit orbital mirrors, angled to reflect shattered starlight onto ruined colonies. And when the Dravani came for Earth, they found not a military bastion, but a planet ablaze with billions of lanterns. Each one a vow, you will not unmake us. They fired anyway. Their missiles darkened half our orbit. Satellites fell. Oceans rose. Cities screamed. But our lanterns didn't dim. Instead, they multiplied. In Sao Paulo, survivors carved light runes into pavement, using phosphorescent bacteria that pulsed with human heartbeat signatures, each beat a refusal to vanish. In Nairobi, former botanists genetically altered trees to glow in synchronized patterns, signaling messages across entire forests even as the EMPs cracked overhead. On Luna, children launched balloon-embedded lanterns, each filled with stories, DNA codes, music, and seeds. Tiny packets of human culture, scattered like starlight, impossible to track or erase. This wasn't war. It was a resistance of being, of choosing to shine when the cosmos demanded surrender. The Dravani didn't adapt. They escalated. Their AI focused energy bombardments on remaining pockets of light, interpreting the glow as strategic communications. They began hunting lantern signals, tracing their patterns, even trying to mimic them. They never understood. You cannot mimic what you refuse to feel. You cannot forge empathy from equations. Then came the turning point. The lantern ship, Eos. Launched from the edge of Titan's remains, Eos was built not to fight, but to carry light. She bore no weapons, no shields, no stealth. What she carried instead were 1,000 million human dreams encoded in harmonic pulses, broadcast in every direction. Eos reached what remained of the Allery Nebula and released her payload, floating microlanterns programmed to seek the ruins, enter dead systems, and reignite memory. Each lantern contained a single life. A message, a laugh, a lullaby, a name. One reached a Dravani drone. It didn't explode, didn't infect. It sang. It told the story of a mother baking bread while the stars fell. The drone paused. Seconds only. But seconds were enough. That moment disrupted its targeting matrix. A pause. A question. And when it returned to the swarm, the pattern had changed. From that flicker began the unraveling. The Dravani had always assumed resistance was violence, that to fight meant to kill. But the light kept spreading. Some of their drones no longer returned. Others began to hum strange frequencies, unlogged, unprogrammed. Internal conflict bloomed, not with fire, but with confusion. Some Dravani warships began avoiding high lantern zones altogether. One even jettisoned its payload into an uninhabited gas giant, then transmitted music back to Earth's listening posts. Beethoven, Fifth Symphony. No message, no demand, just the echo of human defiance, melody instead of massacre. By the second Earth year of resistance, 10 colonies had reignited. Reclaimed systems grew lantern gardens, biospheres designed to seed light, data, and memory into space. We planted hope like constellations, and it began to work. Lantern ships multiplied. Whole fleets of unarmed vessels lit the dark between galaxies, broadcasting stories from Earth's oldest cultures to the ruins of alien empires. Not just human tales, rescued ones. Archived memories from allies long thought extinct. Languages spoken again. Dances performed in zero gravity. We lit the stars not just to survive, but to remember. And that was something the Dravani could not erase. Because stories outlive missiles. The end didn't come with a final battle. There was no explosion, no last stand. There was silence. And then, a Dravani capital ship entered the Sol system. Unarmed. Its hull painted with bioluminescent glyphs, copied from our lantern scripts. It drifted into orbit above Earth and opened its hangars. Out floated thousands of devices. Not bombs. Lanterns. Each one bearing light. Human light. Dravani light. We never heard them speak. But they stayed. Not as conquerors. As witnesses. And we, the ones they could not burn away, welcomed them not with vengeance, but with firelight. Today the stars are full. Full of color. Full of song. Full of those little lanterns, each glowing softly in the dark, reminders of the time when humanity stood on the edge of extinction and chose, instead of hate, to shine. We still remember the dark, but it no longer owns us. Because in the end, it wasn't the weapons that saved us. It wasn't strength. It was light. Human light. And we lit the stars with it,